Verbal riot.
What's happening, guys, and welcome to VRL. It's Wednesday. It's hump day for those of you lucky to have somebody to hump. And if you don't, what are you doing watching my show, man? Get out there. Find yourself somebody to hump. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, YouTube. Don't demonetize me, okay? It's a joke. No, but seriously, guys, thanks for joining me. We have a lot to talk about today. Serious things like politics and social justice issues. And no, I'm kidding. We ain't talking about any of that crap. We're going to talk about important things like Snow White and Frozen 3 and Captain America, the real stuff. But we're not going to be doing it alone. No, I am not alone today. I have a special guest who really needs no introduction. You guys should know him by now. Mr. Alan Ng. Let me bring him in.
Hey. I don't know. I feel like I do need introductions. Chris is more well known of the two of us. So
I don't know, man. You're building a name for yourself out there.
Yeah.
But you were the man on the ground last weekend. You were at D23.
Yeah.
And
Chris and I split the time. I was there Saturday. He was there Friday.
Okay, I got it. But Saturday was the important day, right? Like that was like the day they did all the big announcements, right?
Well, Friday they did all the entertainment stuff, so the movie things, the Marvel, Star Wars. Saturday was even more interesting. It was the parks experience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that one I think caused more damage than the entertainment one.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, man. Like before we get into like reviews and what they promoted and all the things that are happening, what was just the vibe this year of being there?
Yeah, well, the vibe was very casual and relaxed. Why? Because I could get through the entire exhibit hall within a couple of hours.
Wow.
Before that place used to be a madhouse. There used to be a lot going on. I was at the very first D23, and it was to say it wasn't magical would be an understatement. It was the best experience of my life. And now,
wait, what year was that?
Oh gosh. I want to say it's like when they bought Marvel. I want to say, let's see, where was I working? 2008, maybe.
Wow. Okay. Oh, so like the very beginning.
Yeah. When was the first D23 Expo?
Dude, that was before the MCU.
Yeah, it was. Let's see. The first one was, here we go, Wikipedia, 2009.
Wow.
2009. And oh my gosh, it was the greatest experience of my life. I remember first, I was all in. I was such a Disney shill at this time. And
to be fair, we all were at that time.
Yeah. I mean, I spent $200 to go to the event for the entire weekend. The first night, the first day was it was the entertainment movie panel. And like Johnny Depp came on stage dressed as Jack Sparrow to talk about the next film. They brought Nick Cage on stage. They asked him, will you make National Treasure 3? And he said yes. The Muppets came on stage. I had never seen the Muppets in person in my entire life. The Muppets are on stage. Miley Cyrus had a big hit from the Hannah Montana movie. She sang it then. And the whole event just felt like Disney did their best to honor and make a special event for fans. That was the first D23, and over time it just became less and less that, and became more of a corporate shill. And I think this is the pinnacle of it, where people just weren't buying it, and clearly they weren't buying tickets to it either.
So, besides the fact that I guess they had less things to show. Mm-hmm. Was it because we talked about Comic-Con. We talked about how the vibe was a little off this year. Was it the same for D23?
I'd say it was less. I mean, the problem, what they have in common in terms of a problem is there wasn't enough to show.
Got it. Okay.
And then also, the problem with Comic-Con is participation from the big studios. I don't think they're as enthusiastic about Comic-Con as they have been over the years. Hall H, you might as well have just let Disney run the whole thing.
Wow.
And that was kind of true last year. D23, I mean, it's run by the company, so they're all there. But I think one of the weird elements of this one was to move all the big panels to the Honda Center. So for like 2 hours before the event, you're encouraged to go to the shuttles and get driven over to the Honda Center, which I drove by earlier or yesterday, and the entire parking lot is torn up. So they must be doing some construction there. But so the only way to park or get into the Honda Center was through these shuttle buses. And then I don't know. There's something special about those that didn't seem so special now that you're in this giant arena. And I don't know. It used to be special, and it used to have Disney magic, and I feel like it's gone.
Yeah, and it's not even a surprise, though. I mean, it's look, the only people excited about Disney, man, to be honest with you, are Shills. I mean, if we're going to be honest, the ones who get flown out, the ones who get set up in these hotels, the ones who get flown out. Those are the people excited because they're not spending their own money. They're just they're on the company's dime, right?
Yeah. Well, and there's such a dedicated cosplay fan base, which I appreciate and admire. And so they came out pretty strong. I mean, that Saturday was all the photo calls for all the cosplay. So there were a lot of people in that plaza getting their pictures taken.
You know what? I've never been to one. I've never been to D23. Even when the MCU was at its heights, it just never really interested me. Only because coming off of Comic-Con, I just didn't want to go to another con like a week after. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, my legs are killing me all day because I did a live stream for almost 2 hours on the floor.
Oh wow!
And I think the adrenaline of the live stream kept my legs intact, but I was done. I sat for like an hour just not moving.
Well, and that's the thing, man. Like after Comic-Con, I usually need like almost a week now to recover from all the walking around, and we're not getting younger, so all that walking, man. It it hurts.
Yeah, and oh man, it's like I don't know what it is nowadays. These last since 2016, the gaslighting from everybody is just unbearable. I'm just tired of it because when people are talking to you and trying to sell you something, they're a little bit two-faced. They're gaslighting you at the moment. And, and this is not going to end. It's going to ramp up until November. So I hate politics.
Yeah, I do too. Here's the thing though, man. I kind of feel like I want it to be over. Like in a way, I just kind of want to get through these next like 3 months so that we could just stop it. I care who wins, obviously. Yeah. But I just want it to be done. So we could talk about something else. Yeah.
No, part of me is like, I just wish people could just. There was an article that we didn't do on Film Threat today, but it was just Jenna Ortega saying that she wishes that people could just say what they want without getting any repercussions for it, to bring authenticity back to the conversation.
Right.
And I wish. I mean, that's what I hope we do is just we're authentic. We can say what we want without fear of getting canceled or fear of backlash. And part of that is just being able to ask questions, stare and ask questions and to kind of take these political issues and say, who's right or what are the consequences of these things, rather than questioning something and then in fear of getting labeled a bigot or a homophobe.
Right. I keep hearing the tide is turning, man, but I honestly I'm not seeing it.
No,
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I think if the tide is turning, it's because people the people who are the targets of all this are starting to speak up and speaking out with no fear. And I think the more people who just say things like with no fear, the more that the other side just can't. You can. It's kind of like if everyone gets canceled, if enough people gets canceled, then everyone's canceled, and then we can all go back to our lives again.
Right. Well, I always love when they turn on each other like that. Like that's the best thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that meme, let them fight. It's like, yeah, let them fight.
Yeah.
I love woke on woke crime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, let's get into, I guess, what they announced, man.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start with this, right? Let's start with Pixar because really, look, Pixar's been in a weird place, right? I mean, they haven't been the company that they were like back in the day. Like Pixar used to be the company, and before Disney screwed them up. But no, this was their big announcement, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's their big announcement. Let me say this about Pixar: Disney screwed over Pixar.
Sure, of course they did.
It started with the pandemic. Just the fact that Soul, Turning Red, and Luca didn't go to theaters was a big hit against Pixar from Disney. And in terms of what they have here, look, I was surprised that Inside Out 2, A, was as good as it was, and B, didn't toe the message. It was just a straightforward tale about a girl who's going to hockey camp and feeling anxiety over it. That's what we wanted from Pixar all this time. That's what we've wanted from Disney all this time. And when Disney did it and delivered a decent story without the message behind it, it made $1.5 billion.
Now, you would think that would be a lesson, right? Like that would be the lesson.
Yeah. So let's see what Pixar has here. Elio. I have no idea what Elio is about.
Yeah, I don't either. Actually, yeah, I haven't seen a trailer or anything.
So, let's speak to the general slate here. There's 7 movies here. Who asked for any of these? I could say that maybe people were clamoring for a Moana 2, maybe.
Yeah, I was going to mention that one. I think I've heard enough rumblings about Moana 2 that okay, I can see that. Yeah,
but the thing is, Moana 2 it's basically a repurposed television show. Moana television show was in production, and then the earnings call came for Disney, and they didn't have Disney didn't have a movie except for Mufasa. They didn't have a movie coming out this year, and Disney does what Disney does, and it's like, well, we've already got a lot of the assets and modeling done for Moana, the TV show. Let's just turn it into a movie,
right?
And that announcement, I believe, was in March or April, and it's coming out in November. So just like every other Disney film of the last few years, it's rushed. It's going to be rushed, and we will see if that affects the quality of it at all. And coming off Wish, let's hope it's a return back to the animation quality that Disney had been giving us for a long time.
Okay, but when I look at like Frozen 3, Frozen has been a moneymaker for them, right?
By the way, it's Frozen 3 and 4. It's a 2-part.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
2 parts.
I mean, I think out of all of them, like Frozen to me seems like the biggest of the money makers of this group, just because there is an audience for it. Again, I don't know who was asking for Frozen 3, but I can see that one making money.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question. What was the best part of Frozen 1 and 2 that made people go back to it?
The music.
The music.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot deny that the music in Frozen 1 and 2 are great, are Disney quality musical.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. That's literally the best part of those movies.
Yeah, that I would say Anna and Elsa. If there wasn't music behind it, no one would really care about these characters or the plot there. And the point I'm making is, I don't think people are as up on Frozen as Disney thinks they are. And to say that we're going to make a 2-part animated movie tells me that I think they are overestimating what people love about Frozen. And unless it's wall-to-wall musical numbers written by the Lopez's, this, I don't know. I fear for this film. I think they are back though.
I mean, being honest, man, the only thing that interests me out of this whole group is the Incredibles.
And how how excited are you about that?
That's the thing. I'm not that excited. I'm just saying, like, if I had to watch one of these, it would be The Incredibles. But it's not something like, I've been, kind of clamoring for, right? Like, I wasn't sitting here hoping they would announce Incredibles 3. And the thing is, I don't think anyone was. Like, even if you love the first two movies, right? Like, Incredibles 3 wasn't something that was really on your card. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, it was 10 years between the first two. I mean, I would legitimately say that when Incredibles 2 was announced, people were excited about it. I was excited about it, to finally see the adventure of this, forgot the family's name, the Incredibles. I was generally excited to see the next adventure. And then 2 came out and was like, it was a modest hit. I think it was more panned than praised. And then to say that, from there, I don't think people were actually clamoring for a third Incredibles.
No, not at all. Although, having said that, I mean, I think it'll do well. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's good that Brad Bird's back. At least you have the visionary behind the first two behind it, which is good.
Right.
But Toy Story 5, I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, wait, is Tom Hanks and all those guys back?
I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure. I can only. What I'd like to see is if they brought Chris Evans in for a cameo, like they did with Deadpool.
That's right, because he was Buzz Lightyear in the Solo movie, right?
Yeah. And it was like, first of all, Toy Story 3 was the end of the trilogy. Then Toy Story 4 was the end of the friendship between Buzz and Woody, and now we're at 5. I'm saying they've ended the series twice already, and now they're bringing back just reeks of desperation.
I mean, look, man, if we're being honest here, Disney is a desperate company right now.
Yeah.
So
that's the slate here. I mean, okay, no one asked for a Frozen 3, let alone 4. Zootopia, maybe. It's been a long time since the first movie came out. Elio is, you look at that picture and you have no idea what this movie is. Hopper has the weirdest plot behind it. Moana 2 is probably just the property that's the youngest, so at least there's semi momentum behind it. But we'll see how that turns out. I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda is not even writing the music for Moana 2.
Oh wow, that's a big loss, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing Mufasa.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, and I'll say this about Lin-Manuel Miranda. In my humble opinion, when he's given time to write, like several years, he hits it out of the park. When he's asked to write quickly, he's not that great.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, look, there's no doubt. I mean, the guy is talented. He knows what he's doing. I haven't heard anything bad about the guy, so I'm not going to sit here and like shit on the guy. But I do know, like, he's had some misses though. But I mean, look, everyone has, right?
Sure. I mean, the thing about Lin-Manuel is when he hits a home run, he knocks it out of the park. He's great when he's great,
right?
And it's a testament to the fact that like the first Moana was written at the same time he was writing Hamilton, and so he was he spent a lot of time on both those projects, and I would say definitely of the two, Hamilton was great, and Moana was okay. When it comes to musicals, I always say if you can hum the songs on your way out of the theater, you won. I'm not sure I could say that about Moana, but it was good.
See, I feel like the way you measure that though is your daughter, right? Like, Does she like them?
Well, even me, like, I'm a big musical fan, and the only thing I ask for in a musical is let me walk out singing your songs. And I think Broadway and I think Disney has been, I think a lot of musicals these days don't give that to you. Let's see, like Encanto, I would say he did it right with Encanto. I mean, it was hard not to sing those songs,
right?
After seeing that movie. Wish could not even tell you what those songs were about.
I kind of want to believe that Wish kind of scared them. because of the backlash and how bad it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. That's an interesting thought because Moana, greenlighting Moana essentially was a couple months after the failure that was Wish.
Well, because think about it, man. Animation is Disney's bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they have the MCU, they have Lucasfilm, but Disney is animation, and if they fail at that, then, but you know what I mean? No, if they fail at that,
yeah. Well, what was I gonna say? Oh, I mean, we covered this in the D files, but Wish was the 100th anniversary year of the Walt Disney Company. Wish should have been the movie that was the ultimate Disney movie. And it is, to me, it was the worst Disney animated movie of all time. The Pars, that's right. To the fact that if you watch the making of Wish, I think Chris is saying something about our volume levels. Yeah, you're too high, I'm too low. Yeah. But Wish was supposed to be the 100 years of Walt Disney animation. Started with Snow White, ended with Wish. And you watch the making of Wish, and you'll see that they attempted to honor Walt by honoring his legacy and his animation style. And the problem was that they took Walt's catalog and deconstructed it to make Wish, when the irony is they used to have people who had that tradition carried on to them, and they fired them all, or they made them all quit. So no one was there who really had a grasp of what the Walt Disney style of animation was.
Right.
And and that was Wish. Congratulations, Walt.
Yeah, I didn't, after your review, I didn't bother to watch it. So I was like, you know what? I'm good. Like my time is precious, and I just can't do it.
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting one because it did better internationally than it did domestically. So apparently the rest of the world doesn't care, or it doesn't know the difference.
Yeah,
doesn't know what good animation is.
The rest of the world just wants to see pretty pictures, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get into some of the comments real quick.
Okay.
All right. Emily Kruger says, "Happy Wednesday." Happy Wednesday to you, Emily. You are always watching, and I appreciate that so much. All right. Next up is Sergeant Garatina's Rising Renegades. Hey, Emily Kruger. Very cool.
Duncan Idaho's
redo. Don't fall Dante's powerful voice, Chris. You mean my very loud, booming voice? All right. Hey, Emily. Man, Emily's getting more replies than me.
Emily.
Hey, it's me and HD. Hey, Emily Kruger. Good to see you. Let's see. Hey, Master the TDS. Checks box to ensure I am not a bot. Greetings.
Well, I would expect a bot to say that.
I know, right? But no, seriously, Master, you are doing the Lord's work, man. Yeah. You are filtering out those bots. Let's look at another one. Hey, it's me and HD. What was the last great Pixar film? Toy Story 3, maybe.
No,
maybe.
It's Coco.
Coco. Actually, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Coco was good. It's funny, though, because it seems like Coco is the one that gets forgotten a lot.
I don't know. I know people who still talk about Coco.
Interesting. Yeah, I rarely, even from Disney, I don't hear a lot about Coco. So.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you my Coco story, but last year, my mom passed away in January last year. And so my daughter and my mom have birthdays close to each other. So on my daughter's birthday, we went to my mother's gravesite and kind of did the family thing there. And ironically, Coco was playing at the El Capitan with the show and everything. And so we decided to, see my mom, then go see Coco. And at the end of Coco, I was just bawling like a baby.
Wow.
And my daughter was laughing at me. And he's like,
well, I know your daughter, man. She could be pretty savage. So
I like it. But man, that movie just hit me right at the end there.
Yeah, no, it was a good movie, but I can imagine, man. I would have been bawling too, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, but Coco. Yeah, Coco was the last great Pixar movie.
Let's see. All right, we have Hayes Me and HD. Were there any mentions of phases in regards to MCU at D23, or was it avoided like it was at San Diego Comic-Con? We're actually, it's funny you say that because that's a perfect transition into what we're about to talk about.
Did you watch the D23 segment, the Friday session at D23?
What's that?
Did you watch it at all?
I watched some of it. I look, I just because of people we know and everything, I've seen a lot that came out of that, like as far as clips that I can't post, unfortunately, because of copyrights. But I did see a lot of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see any of it. They were supposed to stream it on Disney Plus, and they didn't, and so I missed the whole thing. But I did see some sneaky streamer post stream the Parks panel, so I'm very familiar with that one.
So yeah, I mean, let's talk about the MCU. I mean, might as well. There wasn't a whole lot that was different from Comic-Con, other than some of the Disney Plus stuff, right? Yeah. They showed a lot more of the Disney animation stuff, I think, this time, which they didn't show at Comic-Con.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people in the chat when we were doing our Comic-Con episodes were saying that most likely D23 was going to get all the Disney Plus shows from Marvel versus the movies that the Comic-Con got, and it seemed like they were right.
I don't know if they showed any new footage of the Fantastic Four as far as what they showed from Comic-Con, but again, man, just from what I'm seeing of it, I just still feel like that's kind of like their last hope for me. Is Fantastic Four. Like if they screw that up, I don't even care about Doomsday or Secret Wars if they screw up the Fantastic Four. Yeah,
no, you're exactly right. They have to. Fantastic Four has to be a great movie. It can't be mediocre.
No,
and it definitely can't be bad. Because if it's not a great movie like Wolverine and Deadpool, great. Who cares about Doomsday and the other one, Secret Wars?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that Robert Downey Jr. or the Russos can do to save it at that point.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, at least for me. I mean, maybe some people are still holding on hope. I can't. I'm done.
Yeah. And what's weird is I feel like the fan of all the Marvel properties, I think Fantastic Four is the most difficult to pull off.
Oh, it is. Oh, dude, that is a very hard. It's a great book, but it's a hard visual medium to pull off, man. And we've seen it. We've seen them fail time after time trying to make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, you just get the sense that the other movies were about getting these four characters together and interact some way and defeat Doctor Doom. And I'll be honest, when I was reading comics, Fantastic Four was one of that and Thor were kind of the most difficult for me to really get into because I think Fantastic Four felt very science heavy. You're dealing with the negative zone, you're dealing with a whole lot of other things. Then you bring in Agatha Harkness and Franklin Richards and that
right.
whole magic stuff. And it's a lot easier for me to get into the X-Men than the Fantastic Four. And so the challenge is afoot. They've got to knock this one out of the park.
I think my thing with Fantastic Four has always been if it's not somebody like Jack Kirby doing it, it's a very hard book for most like current writers or modern writers. You know what I mean? Because Kirby was on a different level, man. Like, you think about his stuff with like DC and the New Gods, and Kirby just had a crazy imagination, and his artwork reflected his imagination, right? So Fantastic Four is in that bubble of Kirby, and to make that's why MODOK looks so stupid in the Ant-Man movie, man. It's like it's a Kirby character that you gotta. There's a certain nuance to a Kirby thing, and I think by them doing the Fantastic Four in the '60s, that does help it because that's the era it's supposed to be in.
Yeah,
I don't think a current day Fantastic Four works.
No, and I think going to the '60s was the right choice to make it the futuristic '60s.
Yeah,
the Jetsons kind of '60s was another right choice to make. The thing about MODOK is it's the same thing about Taskmaster. Great characters, but they made them jokes. Especially in Ant-Man, to make Yellow Jacket the MODOK was a joke, and now you just ruined a great character. To make Taskmaster a woman for the sake of the female messaging behind Black Widow, it's had you just created a character like her, like that, and make it a female. But no, they took a great character and just fundamentally changed it to where it's unrecognizable to us fans who read that comic book or who read the Taskmaster.
Yeah, honestly, for me, Taskmaster that's when I lost it. That's when I'm like, you know what? Screw you guys, man. Because you took one of my favorite villains and just bastardized him.
Yeah. And for the message.
For the message. Like, there was no legit reason for you to, and what's crazy is, okay, fine, you're gonna make Taskmaster a woman, make him interesting, man. Like, they made it seem like the Taskmaster was like this brainless zombie, right? Yeah. And I'm like, that's not who the Taskmaster is, man. He was pretty much Deadpool before Deadpool.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's it. This has been the problem, even with DC. It's you take this really cool character, but the writers don't understand why they were cool in the first place. They just thought that if they put the character in there, we're just gonna cream ourselves and just fall in love with it just by seeing it without giving us the heart of the character.
The Taskmaster should have always been a Captain America villain. Not a Black Widow villain. And on top of that, in the comic, Taskmaster is the one who trained Johnny Walker, a U.S. agent. Like, there's so much they could have did with that, especially with the Thunderbolts coming out, right? And it's like, I wish the people who made these things, man, cared about the material, because if they just cared about the material, the movie writes itself.
Yeah, the
TV show writes itself. Yeah. But that's an old gripe. We've heard it all before. I'm just saying, I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Chris Gore is right, and that Marvel had cleaned house, got rid of all the activists, and are going in the right direction.
I mean, we heard it all from the same source. So if that source is right, then fingers crossed on that. But all right, let's talk about Daredevil, though. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to show clips from Born Again.
So what did you see? I didn't see any of the clips.
I saw the whole trailer. Like, someone leaked the whole trailer for Born Again. And honestly, I will say this, to its credit, it does feel like the Netflix show.
Yeah.
It does have the feel. It has the violence. So how are they going to pull it off? I don't know. Within the MCU, the Punisher is back. So are they going to let the Punisher just kill people? Right. I have a lot of questions about that part of it. Like, are they going to let it be really violent, or is it going to be kind of like mild violent? You know what I mean?
Well, from what I heard, based on what I heard is it's supposed to be more violent than the Netflix series.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see Karen and Foggy back. I don't know to what extent, but you can't. How do you have a Daredevil show without those two characters in it either?
Especially Foggy. You got to have at least Foggy. Yeah. I mean, Karen, yes, but definitely Foggy.
Yeah, but she was such a big part of the series, and she had a legit character arc from start to finish.
True.
How do you not have them? How do you not write a story with them in it? And then hopefully Wilson Fisk gets his balls back.
That, and I just hope they don't neuter Bullseye.
Oh yeah,
I look, and this is a small gripe, but we all saw that costume that they have for Bullseye in the show. I was not a fan. I'm like, why can't they just do a comic accurate Bullseye costume, man? It's not even that hard to pull off if you think about it. Yeah, you can make it a little bit more modern, but just still give it the feel of Bullseye.
Yeah, but if you have a cowl on and a giant bullseye on the top of it, you're a walking bullseye at that point.
But that's who he is, though.
Yeah, I know.
He wants you to come at him.
It was cool in the I can have this debate of some costumes from the comic books don't translate well to real life.
No, make it a little more modern. But I'm just saying, but give it at least some flair, right? Because what I saw was, dime store costume that you could buy at Rite Aid during Halloween time.
Yeah, I'll just say I like the MCU Captain America suit more than the comic book accurate.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They definitely knocked it out the park with Cap suit in the MCU. Like no denying that. And honestly, we can kind of say that with a lot of the costumes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, they did good, but I'm just saying, I don't know. You know, make him at least look a little like Bullseye.
Yeah.
But that's a small gripe. You know, hopefully the show was good.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about Captain America because we've already seen the trailer. I don't know if you saw the clips of the Red Hulk, because I did see that. I
saw the clip of just the Red Hulk.
Of him turning. Oh, you didn't see him turning into the Red Hulk?
No, I saw him turning into it. That
okay.
Whatever was leaked, but I haven't seen any of the teaser trailers for it. I did see at CinemaCon the opening sequence, which is in the trailers, where Sam meets President Ross and tells him that he needs, you know, he never thought he'd say that he wants the Avengers back to reform.
Right.
And then you know, basically the bad guys attack. Some people are brainwashed supposedly, and the action begins. That's what I've seen so far of it. And I wasn't impressed.
I don't think anyone's super excited about Captain America 4, but I will say that, you know, it's one of those things that it could be a good movie. It could be, and we just don't, you know, we don't see it yet. But if I were to bet, I especially after hearing Harrison Ford, it's like, I don't know. Look, man, never let Harrison Ford promote a movie. Like, seriously, never let Harrison Ford promote a movie, because he will talk you out of it, right? Like when he was talking about how, you know, his preparation for the Hulk was just acting stupid. I'm like, okay, I don't need to see this. I don't need to see this movie. I'm good.
Yeah, well, I think it was Gary or Chris. What they're saying about the story, or what the story should be. Let's put it that way. They don't know exactly what the story is, but to me, if they're gonna make Sam Wilson Captain America, this movie should be the story of Sam Wilson earning the title of Captain America.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say that Falcon and the Winter Soldier was him, quote unquote, earning the title, right?
Well, that felt more like him taking the title or being given the title. But I don't think we saw anything in that series that convinced us that, you know, that Sam is Captain America, except for the speech at the end.
Right.
The Be Best speech.
Well, I mean, I will say that him being given a title is pretty meta, considering the whole Kamala Harris thing, right? He didn't earn it. It was just given to him. So
yeah. Well, people talk about, you know, well, he got it in the comic book, but you know, I remember reading that storyline in the comic book, and it wasn't that long ago. It was kind of, I think it came out of Original Sin.
Yeah.
And you know, it was like it just felt like, well, I'll put it this way. It felt like the direction of Marvel Comics at that time was to make changes so that those changes could be translated into the movies, so that you could legitimately say, oh, it was in the comic books. You know, to me, to say it was in the comic books, it would have to have been in the comic books pre-2000.
Yeah, I people use that a lot now, and I'm like, that doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah,
you know, because the comics have been bad for a while. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of things happen in a comic book. You know, Kamala Khan, right? And
well, I mean,
Captain Marvel. I mean, that happened in the comics, but
yeah, I mean, Steve Rogers turning old was in the comic books. I mean, that's part of this whole Sam storyline. You know, I believe it was Original Sin, and I believe it was that the super soldier serum was either extracted or wore off, causing Steve Rogers to age.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that. Yeah. I remember that story.
Yeah, but that was also, what was it? Spider-Man had a sister, and a whole bunch of other dumb things that, you know, then it was just weird storytelling, but now you realize, no, it was all, you know, DEI. You know, needing to bring diversity into Marvel Comics and replacing originals. Yeah, at one point Hulk was Korean, was a Korean teenager.
Oh, I remember that. Jesus, that was bad.
Yeah,
God. Yeah, the comics have been shit for a long time. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I got I stopped reading Marvel comics at the Secret Wars 2, where I knew they were going to collapse the universes, the multiverses, and create one so that Miles Morales can exist in the 616, and a bunch of other things.
I mean, I will say this though, man. I mean, I know Miles Morales gets a lot of shit from people as a character. I think, and deservingly so when it comes to a lot of cases. But I think for the most part, I've always been able to separate him from Peter.
Mm-hmm.
So I see him as another Spider-Man, but he's not Spider-Man. He's not the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the same way, U.S. Agent, is a Captain America, but he's not really Captain America. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, from the start, Miles Morales had a very interesting story. We could talk about being Black Puerto Rican, but also he was a junior hire from the very beginning, and so that was a new twist. He was younger than Peter Parker when he switched, and dealing with that, and him and Genki making Lego toys and stuff like that. But then the message took over and just kind of fundamentally changed. It was to me, the frustrating thing was, in my mind, Miles Morales was a really good character, but when it became about we need a not white Spider-Man, that's when it turns you off.
Yeah, when the message took over, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Even if the Spider-Verse movies, though, right? I mean, I thought he was great in those. I thought that character works. He works in a certain way for Spider-Man that I think that doesn't cut off Peter Parker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because Peter Parker was an important part of Miles' story at that time. In the first Spider-Verse movie. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I again, Captain America, I don't like. Look, for me, I like Falcon. I liked him. I like Anthony Mackie as Falcon. I like Falcon as his own character. Yeah. He was always fine as his own character. He didn't need to be Captain America, right? And it's like we talked about how these studios and these companies, they don't find legitimacy in Black characters, right? It's like they're only legitimate if they take over a white role.
Yeah. And weirdly, Falcon was 1970s, 70s and 80s.
Yeah, he's been around. He's an old character. He's been around for a long time. He's an established character.
Yeah, when I started collecting comics in the late 70s to the mid 80s, it was Captain America and Falcon. There was no Captain America comic book. It was Captain America and Falcon at that time.
Yeah, no, yeah, I remember that. I totally remember, and I even loved his old outfit. With the open vest and the red tights. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not looking forward to it. Obviously, I'm going to see it. But the thing that's taken me out of it too, if I'm being honest, man, it's just the whole Red Hulk thing. I just think it's a dumb idea. I think it's stupid. It's Sam doesn't have super soldier serum. To watch him take blows from the Hulk, it's like, come on, really?
Yeah.
Like, that shield can only do so much.
Yeah. What was I thinking? Yeah, it was the Frankenstein aspect of this movie. The fact that I believe it was reshot twice. If I understand everything. The fact that Giancarlo Esposito was a last minute add in the last set of reshoots, and that he had met the cast for the first time at San Diego Comic-Con, tells you, just how important this character is. So it's gonna feel like it was pieced together, and it's not going to be a good movie. And I think there is going to be an admission of that at some point.
Well, and then there's Agatha, right? I mean, we're all looking forward to that. Pins and needles, right? Pins and needles.
Because we wanted it. Somewhere out there, the fans of Marvel Comics said, we need an Agatha show.
Look, man, I like Catherine Hahn and I love Aubrey Plaza. I'm going to watch it because they're in it. But no one was asking for this.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. To me, the only reason to watch this is Catherine Hahn. Aubrey Plaza. The only reason I would even entertain watching the show is Catherine Hahn. She is a legit actress. she's just one of those who's incredible character actor who has not really had the leading role she deserves. And this one is not it.
I don't think so either. But you know what, though? I will say that the one smart thing about this show is like the time period it's coming out in, which is Halloween, right? It's like it'd be a good Halloween show to watch, I guess.
Yeah, and coming off The Acolyte, I mean, what is it? Do people really want witches? Is this the new thing?
It's the year of the witch, man.
I mean, have we transitioned from Baby Yoda to witches? I don't know if you saw the song number they did. That's some of the few things I did see from it. They sing a song that's the ballad of the witches, the Coven witches, and
I didn't see that.
And I'm like, again, you want a song you could walk away with, and this was you. I can't even sing a single line from it or give you the melody of this song. And it seems like this song, like the Power of Two song from The Acolyte. It's like it feels like they're banking a lot of money on that these songs will become suddenly popular, and it just won't.
Although I gotta say, man, if this goes badly, I want Catherine Hahn to write a diss track. I want her to write a diss track.
That'd be cool.
And then there's obviously
if Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza does a parody of that song.
Oh, dude, they do that. They've won my heart, man.
Mm-hmm.
Something tells me though they're not going to get the same kind of hate that Amanda Stenberg got, though.
Yeah, but I will say, I think Agatha all along will make lesbian witches great again.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right.
What if? Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's.
Do you know anything about that?
Look. I mean, it's an anthology, right? I mean, it's like what's to know about a new season of What If? It's going to be. I did see a clip of, but I think it was an old clip of season 3 where the Winter Soldier and the big guy from the Black Widow's father. I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah, Red Ghost.
Red is it Red Ghost?
Red Ghost or Red something?
It's Red something. But him and the Winter Soldier are doing like this team up, this buddy cop thing where they're riding in a car and then they get attacked. So I did see some of that, but that was last year when the second season ended. So
yeah. Red Guardian.
There you go.
Thanks. Hey, it's me in HD. Yeah, I didn't see the second season. I did watch the first season, and I kind of liked the first season because what was it? Oh, because it kind of gave us the Age of Ultron storyline that I thought was pretty cool.
Right.
When it came out just before I stopped reading Marvel comics. I thought the art and I really liked Age of Ultron, the series. And that's what I liked about the first one. The second one, because I feel like didn't they make an announcement of Marvel Zombies?
They did, but I haven't heard much about it. Like there was nothing at D23 about it, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to. That's the thing. It's all flowing together where I get all this information. I just remember there's either a zombie series coming out, and one of the episodes was Shang-Chi becomes a zombie and uses the 10 rings to keep himself from being a menace to the world, basically. That sounds interesting.
I mean, it sounds interesting. I mean, look, man, I will say this. I enjoyed season 1 and 2. I think 2 had maybe 2 misses for me, but the other, I mean, other than that, they're fine on their own, man. I wish they weren't so MCU focused and was more Marvel focused. But in the same way, I kind of get it. I get why they're, focused on the MCU characters. I understand that. Mm-hmm. I just kind of wish they wouldn't do that. But I'll be honest. I'm looking forward to season 3. I like the season. I like the first 2 seasons. They're enjoyable, and they're quick.
Yeah.
So that's a big benefit.
Yeah, and I think you said it. is so MCU centric that unless you've seen everything, it won't make sense. I remember because I love the comic book, and I remember
back in the day, yeah,
and I remember the what if Uncle Ben hadn't died.
I remember that. I had that one. I had that issue.
I had that one too. And what Spider-Man becomes a late night talk show host.
I remember that. And I remember I had the what if the Punisher killed the Marvel Universe?
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows him systematically like killing like all these different characters and the way he goes about it. And the way he kills the Hulk is by killing him as Bruce Banner. But everybody else is pretty easy except for the Hulk.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, dude, the old what ifs were great, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what if Phoenix didn't die?
Yeah, I remember that too.
Oh, that was a good one.
And as far as like the last thing with the MCU, they did announce X-Men 97, which season 2, which I'm very happy about. I think that's probably the best thing that's come out of the MCU in a long time.
Okay, so I don't think I talked to you about this, but I went to the X-Men animated series panel at San Diego Comic-Con, followed by the X-Men 97 animated series panel after that. So in the first panel, it was the creators. It was 2 of the 3 creators of the X-Men series, the original X-Men anime series. I don't know if you know this, but 10 people worked on that series.
Wow, really?
These guys were animating fast. It was so, they were. I remember Larry Houston was the guy who was a part of that, and he talked about the fact that they wish they had more time. They wish they had more resources. And that explains a lot of why I didn't like necessarily the animation of that series. And they had some of the writers there as well. And they talked about the success of that show was the comic books, that they based the show strictly off the comic books. They admitted that they had to make changes for slight changes in order to fit it, but for the most part, the comic books were the script and the storyboard for the comics. And it got to the point where Fox wanted them to make it Super Friends, and when they got word that was the direction Fox wanted to go, the entire staff threatened to quit.
Wow.
Yeah,
good on them, man.
Yeah. And then they had the writer of the Nightcrawler episode, the one where it was a lot about his faith, and with Logan being kind of the atheist, and he talks about how that was definitely derived from the comic books, and how that episode is the one that people talk about most, and how Fox was so enamored with what they had done so far with the X-Men that it was like the standards and practices rarely ever gave them notes, even with the directions they went. Some of the darker directions they went, standards practice said, "Look, I trust you. This sounds good. Go with it." And that was the success of the original series.
Wow.
So then we go to the next panel, and I will say this: as much as we love season 1, my gut tells me that it's going to turn on us at some point.
I'm sure. I know it is. Look, I'm not stupid, man. We're dealing with current day Disney, right? So I have hope, because from what I heard, that they're still using the storylines that the original creator wrote. Yeah. What was his name that they fired?
Yeah, Beau DeMayo.
Yeah, Beau DeMayo. So they're still using some of his stuff, which, considering what he did with the first season, man, even if they use just half of it, I'll at least be I'll be entertained.
Yeah.
But I think after a season 2, it's going to get a little dicey.
Yeah. Like the actor who played, like they brought out the voice cast, and the actor who plays Morph, the way he was going on about, finally a chance to have a character where he can explore his, gender fluidity and all that. I'm like, okay, it's going to turn on us soon.
No, you're right. And to be fair, and honestly, I was kind of surprised by this, man. The whole thing with Morph, because we all heard about that before the show even started. it wasn't that much of a distraction in this season, in that first season.
Yeah. In fact, the controversy came out of the promotional material,
right,
and not the series itself.
In fact, I think Morph might have been one of my favorite characters of that season because he was great comic relief.
Yeah.
And obviously there were some weird things between him and Wolverine, but it was like one-sided.
Right.
And it was more of a crush. And it's like, whatever. Okay. You know, I mean, it's not it wasn't that big of a deal because they didn't play on it that much.
Right. Well, you remember the promotional material basically said Morph non-binary.
Right.
And then the internet just kind of ran with that and made a lot of videos based on that. And then you watch season 1 and you realize, well, that really didn't play anywhere. You know, the idea that he was non-binary. But it feels like it will at some point.
Sure. Oh, well, it's Disney. It's going to.
Yeah.
It's trust me, we're probably going to see a lot more of that stuff in season 2, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All
now,
right,
I will say, so the showrunner of X-Men 97, Bo DeMeo was the guy in charge. The guy replacing him was the number 2 in charge. So,
okay.
So at least it's someone who was there hands-on with the first episode. And then there were a lot like Larry Houston, who created the first, the original. He still is serving as a consultant on the show. So
there's a little hope.
Yeah, there's a little hope.
Yeah. It will go to shit at some point. I know it will.
Turn on us.
But there's a little hope.
The goodwill is going to go away at some point.
Yeah. Before we get into the next topic, I'm going to do this quick super chat from Chris Gore. Chris Gore for $4.99. I like Dante's commitment to high production values for his show. He makes it look so cool, effortless. Great job, Dante.
Yeah, great job, Dante.
I'm literally learning on the job.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I like what you did with the the images here. You are giving Grace Randolph a run for her money.
You know, it kind of blends into the next topic a little bit, but I made a comment on YouTube, and you know, I actually I want this question to be answered because I'm not sure, and I'm not accusing her of anything, but do you think Grace Randolph does cocaine? like no, really, like I watch her and I wonder, like, she kind of looks like she does a bump before every show, but that could just be hearsay or rumors or maybe my observation. I'm just saying it seems like she does a lot of cocaine.
I'm not gonna go as far to say she does that. I will call her a nerdy a nerdy cheerleader. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, cheerleader for sure. That's a horrible shit. But anyway,
well, so look, I don't hate her. I don't dislike her. I just don't agree with a lot of her takes.
But you know what? I'll be honest. I don't hate her either, man. I think she's an interesting character in this space. Yeah. Because sometimes she's on the money, and then there's times where, but it seems like she has like these flashes, right, of coherency. And then she goes back into shill mode, right? Like, I don't know, man. There's something about.
I don't think she's a shill. She's the best kind of shill, the one you don't have to pay.
You don't think she gets anything from them?
No. I think her opinions are hers, and she's, it's her opinion. What can you do?
That's fair, and that's fair, and that is fair.
Yeah. I mean, look, I remember vividly the night I was just watching one of her streams, and the words came out. Let's talk about the MCU. She goes, although I find it offensive, I also find it undeniable. At that point,
you know what? I remember that. Yeah. I remember that, man.
And I
totally caught me by surprise, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, for someone to be that, that honest about it, to say that, I may not like the term, but she finally admits it's true. It's happening out there.
Yeah, no, there's times where she has these flashes of being lucid, and then she goes into that weird mode again. So like, I can never tell.
Yeah, I remember she talked about Borderlands, and the Rotten Tomato score went up. It was 0%, and she was talking about how the publicists over at Lionsgate were, can you get your review up as soon as you can?
Dude, honestly, what's funny is I watched that review, and it was the most unhinged review of a movie I have ever seen, man. She talked. I mean, who was she talking about? She was talking about that one actress.
Ariana Greenblatt or
no, some old actress.
Jamie Lee Curtis,
the one that played in Mommy Dearest.
Oh, Gina. No,
she kept making comparisons to like this old actress, and she spent like the first 20 minutes.
Dunaway?
No, but
Mommy Dearest. Huh.
Yeah, I can't remember her who she was talking about, but she went on and on about this actress, right? And this was like the first 20 minutes of her review. And then she finally got to the review. And I'm like, because I watched somebody else do a review of her review. And I just couldn't stop laughing because like she was so unhinged, man. It's like she didn't want to give the review. So that's what makes me think she's a shill, because it seemed like she didn't want to give that review. So she was talking about everything other than the movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about Grace Randolph.
Yeah.
I have my theories about her, but I'll just keep them to myself for now.
Yeah.
I do want to talk.
She's still blocking you, so what can you do?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's. And also, just really quickly, I had to mention there was no Blade news.
Nope.
Zero news once again about Blade the Vampire Hunter. I did a whole video on that. I don't understand why it's so hard to make a movie about a vampire hunter hunting vampires. Like, I'm telling you, Mahershala Ali is going to age out of this, man. Like, I by the time they start shooting, it'll literally be 2028. I guarantee you.
It's funny. Mahershala Ali will age out, but Wesley Snipes will be the right age to do a movie.
They might as well just bring Wesley back, man. If they're not going to use Mahershala and they can't think of a storyline for the guy, then just let him go do other projects, because I feel bad for him.
Yeah,
it shouldn't even be this hard. If we're being honest, Blade is one of the easiest Marvel characters to write.
Mm-hmm.
If we're being just honest, don't get me wrong, a great writer could do amazing things with it, but just on a base level, Blade is a pretty easy character to write.
Yeah,
right. He's a street level villain, a hero, which is always going to be easier to write than some galactic hero, right, or a space hero. Yeah. I mean, so the fact that they can't think of a script for this character is nuts to me.
Right. Well, also, you can make a Blade movie for $75 million.
Yes. Yes. It could be a cheap movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
Marvel needs to resist the urge of always having to make a $200 million movie. It's not necessary. Marvel movies don't always need to be this grand epic. Make a Blade movie. 75 million. Wesley Snipes and a bunch of great stunt people.
And honestly, they will make the profit in return if they just did that, right?
Yeah.
So I made a comment a while back, sort of a vow that I'm not going to cover Star Wars on my show, and I am sticking to that. I am not going to cover Star Wars, but I am going to talk about some things related to Star Wars. So Oops. There we go. Okay. So the Skeleton Crew trailer came out, and you saw that, right?
Yes.
Okay. There we go. I don't need to play the trailer again. We saw it. It was blah. Look. It's a kids show, right? Mm-hmm. It's a kids show, and that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and try to dissect a kids show, because again, I was done with Star Wars literally after the Acolyte. So
yeah,
but and look, maybe it's going to be a good show. I don't know, but it's not the trailer I want to talk about, man. I don't know if you saw this video from that one YouTuber, Kyle Katarn.
No,
he's Lucasfilm's #1 shill, right? Like, and I mean I do mean that he gets flown out, he gets the treatment, right? Mm-hmm. And so, if you guys haven't seen this trailer of the Skeleton Crew, it's literally Goonies in space. It's a bunch of kids who go on this adventure. They think they find this Jedi temple and blah blah blah. So the reviews, like any other Star Wars property, it's mixed. You have people who are like, oh, I'm all for it. Some people are like, oh, this is just dumbass Star Wars again, right? But this guy, Kyle Katarn, he's a Star Wars YouTuber, right? and I've seen a few of his videos before. He's definitely a shill, but he puts this little statement out. Let me pull it up.
It's going to be great. You got Jude Law, you got some pirates, but predominantly the cast of this show is young kids. And I hope you can hear me when I say I better not see anybody bullying these fucking children. All right, we are not going to have another Jake Lloyd incident in this fandom. Look, I'm not telling.
So he puts out this public statement announcement, right? And I'm just like, look, man, let's be honest here. Sure, the whole Jake Lloyd thing, it was unfortunate. It was during the early stages of social media,
Right.
and that should never have happened. But if we're being honest, at this point, he knows no one's really going to attack children, right?
Yeah.
I think this video was pointed at people like us. It had nothing to do with randos. What he's trying to say is, hey, you guys who do YouTube, you can't criticize this show.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. You can't criticize the show.
Because he knows no one's going to attack kids. He knows that.
Oh, well, I mean, I've said it. It's not that we hate shows with diverse children in it. We hate bad shows with diverse children in it. Look, if the show's good, no one's going to hate these kids. If the show's bad, then that's where we get into the situation we're in. The Acolyte, diversity up the wahoo, and it was a horrible show. It was a lore damaging show. Had nothing to do with the diversity. It had to do all with the story. And look, I hope this is great, so we don't have to go through hating these kids. but we have a track record here that I don't see any indication has changed course.
But also, I don't think, for the most part, any YouTuber is really going to go after the kids, right?
No.
They're going to go after the writing, they're going to go after the show, but not necessarily the kids themselves.
Yeah,
this was all just an attempt to silence us from criticizing the Skeleton Crew.
I mean, we've been approached by people who don't like our criticisms of Star Wars, it comes back to, let's just have a conversation, and I will tell you why we don't like it. And 100% of the time, it's not like I don't hate. I don't think any of us have ever said, well, they cast a diverse person in it. There's a black person in it, so therefore, it's bad.
Right.
It's always about the story. 100% always about the story. And we're in this position now where I don't know. I go on social media and I see young people say this is the best thing ever, and I'm like, well, you haven't seen enough to know what the best thing is. And we're there's maybe the conspiracy theorist in me says, only teach kids things that happened in the last 10 years. Everything before that was the machinations of old white people. And so therefore race.
Oh, no, that's exactly what it is. And that's why they're trying to erase the history, right?
Yeah. Yep. To see what will be unburdened by what has been. I mean, legit, that's the sentiment of that statement.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
It's like, let's think about what the future can be, and let's cast aside everything that has happened in the past. You don't need to know what happened in the past in order for us to have a great future. And I'm saying, no, that is the dangerous. That's why we teach history.
That's not how history works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you teach history so we don't repeat the bad things and we keep the good things going.
So just to show you, that I'm not just calling this guy a shield. This is literally the first picture that pops up when you go to his Twitter page. Yeah. Look who he's with. Dave Filoni. Look at that.
Like father and son finally reuniting.
Yeah, him and the savior of Star Wars. So yeah, man, this guy's full of shit. I mean, you can't tell me Disney didn't proposition him to make that video.
Oh yeah. Hey, you want to meet Dave? Here. Yeah, I mean so this is the thing, because I think these people blame us for the bad box office and low ratings, and I think they overestimate our power. They overestimate. Oh,
absolutely, man. Like, there's times I hear that, and I'm like, guys, we don't have that much power.
I know. There's a reason why people didn't watch your show. There's a reason why people didn't buy tickets to the to the Marvels or to Wish, because you threw up a crappy product, and we just warned you about it. Because the reality is if it was as good as people say it is, it would have made a hell of a lot more money.
Right, regardless of what we had to say.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's wild to me that they think that we're the ones who stopped this from happening, right? And they always and we're always the first to blame.
Yeah.
Look, man, the Critical Drinker has like 2 million followers.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he told all his followers not to go watch a movie, that's still not enough to where it would put a dent in their box office.
Yeah.
The fact that the thing is, no one goes to watch these movies, or no one watches these TV shows, regardless of what we have to say.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I try to do in this space is to kind of get behind why something didn't work, or why something did work. Like the Acolyte. It was just really sitting there and figuring out, well, why is this just not resonating with me as a person? And a lot of it just had to do with the bland storytelling, the fact that you had no depth in these characters, the fact that she's a young gender fluid POC person, so therefore we should have sympathy for her. And I'm like, no, that's not how you build sympathy for a character. You all my life I never saw Black people as oppressed people. I just saw them as my neighbors. And and to have it wasn't until college where it had to be drilled into me. No, they're oppressed. Well,
yeah, because victimization is currency, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and that I've been told on many occasions, okay, you Asians, once the Black people get it all figured out, worked on, then it's your turn. But I think we are actually behind Latinos, so we had to wait through.
Hey, you know what? Black people are behind the gays, so I mean, the hierarchy starts with the gays first.
Well, no, it didn't start with the gays first. The gays got moved up.
Well, that's what I mean. Right now, as it stands, the hierarchy is the gays and then everybody else. So, in fact, I think we're all on equal playing fields. It's like the gays and then everybody else. So,
yeah, this world.
And I'll probably get in trouble for saying the gays, but you know what? It's all good. So, the last topic, man, and I had to save this one for last. We saw the Snow White trailer, right?
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. We saw the Snow White trailer, and it's bad. And you know what? I'm gonna play it. I just feel like enough people haven't seen this. And
you got monetized. You're gonna play it, and
I'm gonna play with the sound off.
Okay.
Yes. As we talk. Okay. There we go. So yeah, we all saw this mess, and you know how my views on the dwarves, because I just feel like they should have used little people. But the conversation isn't so much about the film or the look of the film or whatever. It's about what happened after, because you heard about what happened with Rachel Zegler, right? Yeah. After this, so
how she thanked her fans. For watching this trailer. I love you all so much.
So here we go. She put out a tweet, I love you guys so much, thank you for the love, and blah 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 blah. But then right after that she writes, and always remember, free Palestine. And I'm just like, Rachel, come on. Like you know what, I'm gonna be honest, I was willing to forgive her for everything. Like, I was like, look, man, she's a young girl. She said some dumb things. She took some time away from social media, if you remember. Yeah. Like, for a while, she just disappeared. And I thought, okay, she's going away to reflect and maybe grow up a little bit. And when she comes back, she'll be more humble. She'll be more thoughtful in what she says. And no. Yeah. Nope.
She'll be more empathetic to other people's feelings and opinions.
I'm like, what makes you think it's okay to write that when your co-star is literally Israeli?
Yeah.
Right? Like, Gal Gadot is Jewish. She's Israeli.
Yeah, I believe, didn't she go through military service?
Yeah, she served in the Jewish or the Israeli military.
which is a requirement of all Israeli citizens. But yeah.
But I'm saying she is a Jew of Jews. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
for Rachel to write that, I'm just like,
yeah. I remember Gal was posting pictures of the hostages that were still in Gaza. Talking about why are we not concerned about the hostages that are remaining? That was her co-star.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, man, at this point, if you're a studio, do you roll the dice on her? Like, do you hire her for anything after this?
Oh, I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. I mean, John Lasseter, his first film at Skydance stars Rachel Zegler.
Wow, he's crazy.
Yeah, well,
he is crazy.
Half the population agrees with you.
Wow, that's balls, man.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest with you, like that's big balls, because I would not touch her with a 10-foot pole. She is poison, dude. Like
well, I mean, it was one thing to have said what she said about Walt Disney and his legacy. You can kind of ratchet that up to she's young and doesn't know better. But come on, I mean, the first thing they should teach you in publicity school is don't get political. Don't take a side publicly.
Well, but then it gets weirder. The story gets weirder because then she posts this on her Instagram. I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah. I saw the picture. I didn't see the comments.
Oh, she wrote, "I'm the fairest of them all." So she's jealous that Gal Gadot is hotter than her, man. Like, she's like, because I guess she read the replies that there's no way that the Wicked Witch is jealous of her, right? When the Wicked Witch looks like Gal Gadot and she looks like her. Don't get me wrong, she's a cute girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's a cute girl, but she's no Gal Gadot. And I think her pride, I think she got butthurt. She got real butthurt, and she put this post up.
Okay, I don't know that I would go that far with this. She is Snow White, the fairest of them all.
I don't know. It seemed pretty coincidental when she put it up, though, man. It was like after the replies of the trailer, right?
Yeah. I mean, sure. I wonder sometimes what celebrities think of us and the things we say, and I feel like for the majority of them, they don't even know we exist, let alone what we say about them.
You know what? Here's the thing. They read comments. They do, because they talk about it. They talk about how they read comments, right? Now, I'm sure Cate Blanchett doesn't read comments because she's probably too busy to be on Twitter.
She probably doesn't have I haven't checked. I don't know that she has the social media.
She probably doesn't, right? But I know Rachel Zegler does. Yeah. And I know she's pretty active on it. Mm-hmm. So I guarantee you she reads comments.
Yeah.
No, I think she's making all the wrong moves. I think she thinks like this is just going to last forever, right? Like, I think she thinks like she's going to be like this person forever. And it's like, Hollywood literally will cut you off. You know how many people I could name that thought they were going to be huge? Yeah. Remember Taylor Kitsch? Where's he now? Right?
Or Taylor Lautner.
Oh my God. He was in one of the biggest franchises of all time.
He was dating Taylor Swift. I mean,
where is he now?
All the Taylors. What's up with all the Taylors?
Dude, I'm telling you, like, I if I could give any advice to this young generation of talent, is, guys, you're hot for now. You are literally hot right now. Tomorrow, who knows? Right? It doesn't help you to say dumb shit like this, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, she's a theater kid. She started in high school theater before she got into West Side Story. Oh man, that's how they act. Sometimes the problem I have with this generation is they have no values, or their values come from their values change from situation to situation. It's like you can say I love your neighbor as yourself, but free Palestine. They're just being taught. They're not being taught right in terms of how to act as human beings in this world. They're not being taught that, who you are, accept yourself for who you are. If you're a male or if you're female, accept that. If you're born poor, you're born rich. If you're born black, if you're born Asian, you're born white. That's who you are, and be proud of who you are. Take pride in that, and get along with people who aren't like you, and learn from them. These are not values we're teaching our kids anymore, and this is just one of those examples.
Okay, but here's the thing, man. Back in the day, I don't know if they still do this, but talent, like they had handlers back in the day, right? Mm-hmm. Like, do they still have handlers anymore?
They do, but the handlers are reinforcing all this stuff.
Oh, Jesus.
You forget that the handlers of today are, they weren't that much older. It's not like these handlers are 50 years old or 40 years old or 30 years old. And again, it goes to the this whole DEI thing. Somehow the studios got into their heads that diversity, equity, and inclusion would equal box office success, and so they leaned into it. They cast aside all business wisdom and business knowledge and business common sense and said, "Look, if we just race swap the lead, people will come out in droves and see your movie."
Yeah, I here's the thing though. I think regardless of what her next movie is, I think she's on borrowed time. There comes a point, man, and I've been saying this for the longest time. I really don't get why these studios don't put a gag order on their talent. No, really. Like, I'm not even like joking. Like, why aren't studios putting a gag order on crew and cast? Because if you're sinking a movie before it even comes out, you've already lost probably close to $1 billion because of that person.
Yeah. But I have a voice and I need to be heard.
No, you don't. No, dude, not when you're costing a business $1 billion.
I need to speak my truth.
In any other company you work for and you cost them that kind of money, you are not only are you fired, but you're probably like blacklisted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Hollywood is the only industry where people can cost a company, a studio, that kind of money and still most likely get work. But I even think that's how much money can they afford to keep losing on this girl? Because Snow White is not going to pull in what they need. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Snow White is problematic or was problematic from the very start. This only exacerbates it. But, the fact that the changes that they've made to that movie to kind of retcon this movie, this is another Frankenstein movie where it nowhere looks like the original project.
Oh, not at all, man. We saw those stills, man.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing, though. But you remember those stills, Snow White and her happy, diverse friends. It covered the rainbow except Asian, and but the thing is what did they replace them with? CG dwarves, but not just CG dwarves, but white male CG dwarves.
Right.
They at least they got the lesson of, hey, we need to bring back the original 7 dwarves. So they got rid of diversity, equity, inclusion in that point and said, all right, we're going back to the original, the white male dwarves, which is fine. Now, the problem is you could have cast, there's certainly enough white male dwarves you could actually have cast to play these roles. But they decided to go the CG route.
Dude, there's black dwarves too, man. There's black little people out there. Like,
yeah. You could have legitimately thrown in some diverse dwarves into the mix.
Yeah, no, I especially if they're doing the CGI, you're right. They could have just made it a rainbow of dwarves, right? But they chose
CGI. I would say stick with the original. But if you were going to cast it live action, okay, like Grumpy obviously has to be white, but Doc. The very name says Asian. Doc should be Asian.
Well, you can't make the black dwarf dopey.
Oh yeah, Toki.
You can't make him dopey because then it's racist, right?
You could have made R-Truth dopey.
Man. And that's the thing. This movie already has enough going against it just on the way it looks. But then you have her out there just saying dumb shit all the time. It's like, yeah, this it's going to tank, man. It's dead on arrival.
Yeah, I will say that I think they're going to go the Flash route, meaning, look, the film's done. Just get it out there and let it play. and then let it disappear after that.
Yeah, I look, without doubt, without a question, she's I think her time is limited. I think I'm going to put money on, like, I say she probably has another couple of years in this industry. Like unless something drastic changes in her personality, I think she's done.
Yeah.
I think she's done. I think this, like, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I thought she was going to come back with a little bit more clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, no, I don't see her changing.
Yeah. So sad. So talented.
She's the worst. She's the worst person in the world.
She absolutely is.
It's like she's pretty. She can sing. She can dance.
Yeah, but there's a lot of pretty talented girls in Hollywood, man.
Yeah.
She's a dime a dozen, dude. And I hate to say it that way, but she just really is.
Yeah.
Like I said, Hollywood will chew her up and spit her out, and they'll have a new girl by tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, and I don't think these young actors realize this, man. They're on borrowed time, and they don't even know it.
I know. It's like now it's going to be hey, let's just go into the Midwest and start casting some white girls. And
dude, you joke, but it's probably going to come back to that. She's screwing it up for diversity, man. She's screwing it all up.
Oh, that's a whole other episode. I could talk to you about minorities screwing up minorities.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on, Amanda Stenberg. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for us today. We covered a lot of D23. In fact, this whole episode is about D23 in different ways. So thank you guys so much for showing up.
You got to do your super chats, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point. But there's only one more. So
okay.
And that is from Jim Watari for $9.99. Thank you. You worst.
Okay.
I am. I know I'm the absolute worst.
Yeah.
But I don't try to hide it though. But thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. All right, so now we're going to wrap it up. And again, thank you guys for showing up. I got to thank Alan Ing for taking time out of his schedule because he already did a show earlier today, so his voice is probably done. Yeah.
Well, I mean, congrats on monetization. I had to come in and help you out. I don't know how much I helped, but
look, man, I've been wanting to have you and Chris on the show for a while, so I'm glad you were finally able to make your first appearance.
Yeah,
and be first of many because I'm definitely going to have you back, probably with more people too. So
yeah, just let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Definitely like, share, comment on the video, subscribe if you haven't. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next week, man. Wednesday, 4 o'clock.